Hello everybody and welcome back to Story Behind the Story. I'm your host. This week we'll talk to Angel about grocery bingo, we'll hear from Rachel about the beer garden, and later we'll catch up with Justin quick on Bearcat football. But first we're going to talk to Angel. How you doing, Angel?
I'm good, how are you?
You know, I'm doing good. Classes have almost ended. Tomorrow's Friday, the week's finishing up and I'm ready to go, ready for the weekend. We've got some Bearcat football coming up, so I'm excited about that. But let's talk a little bit about grocery bingo. For those who don't know, can you give us a description? What is grocery bingo?
Grocery bingo is an event that the Student Activities Council puts on every semester for students to come play bingo, and once they get a bingo, they win a bag of groceries.
That's awesome. And what are, like, you know, when you win, what are some of the different types of groceries that you get?
There's a bunch of different categories, and you pick one from each category. There's breakfast foods, sweet fruits, salty foods. Lunch and dinner are put together, and you pick two from those, and then there's also drinks.
So you could get like granola bars, ramen noodles, mac and cheese, you know, all the good college food that we need because they're college students. Definitely comes in clutch a lot. How was the turnout for grocery bingo? Because from what I heard, it was, you know, it was a madhouse basically. It was crazy.
It was really busy. It's their biggest one yet. It's their first year in the Student Rec Center, and they were expecting about 500 students, but and when doors opened at 7:30, a lot of students came in, and by 7:50, even though the event started at 8, they ran out of bingo cards, so they had to stop letting people in because they didn't have bingo cards to give them.
I got you. And so I know they usually put this on, you know, twice a year. So in the spring, are they looking to move it to a different location, you know, get more bingo cards, stuff like that?
Yeah. They're hoping to move it to Hughes Fieldhouse and just have more groceries, make it bigger, and house more students.
I got you. And how much money do they spend, you know, because groceries aren't exactly the most, you know, least expensive thing.
This last time around, they spent a little under $6,000 on groceries. It's the biggest one yet because they partnered with the UPD for the first time, and UPD received a grant from MoDOT, and so they used some of those funds to help with grocery bingo.
Will we see an update in security? Will there be more, you know, people watching the front gate to make sure that everybody gets swiped in and everybody's there? Because I know sometimes people just, you know, kind of swipe in without, or kind of go in without swiping the Bearcat cards.
Well, I don't know about the security part, but I think the reason a lot of students didn't get swiped in was because of the whole confusing situation with not having enough Bearcat or bingo cards. They didn't have enough bingo cards, so they had everybody wait at the front of the line, and so this crowd is just getting bigger and bigger. And of course, you're supposed to swipe your card before getting a bingo card, and what they did is they recycled it. So once someone got a bingo, then you used their card. And I think because of such a big crowd, like, they didn't get everybody swiped in.
I got you. So the hope is next time we see it, it'll be in the Hughes Fieldhouse. We'll have more groceries, we'll have more bingo cards, so everybody gets to play. It's got to be the biggest event the Student Activities Council here at Northwest puts on, because the turnout, I mean, expecting 500 and still having people stand online is pretty crazy, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. But I want to, thanks for the time. Thank you for taking the time and talking to me today. Grocery bingo is exciting, and I encourage students to go to it. I hope that you're able to come out to grocery bingo next time to have it in the spring. Hopefully they'll be in the Hughes Fieldhouse, and hopefully there'll be enough bingo cards for everybody. Hopefully we won't have to worry about that and get everybody swiped in. That's all the time we have. Thanks for joining me, Angel. Next up, we'll talk to Justin quick about Bearcat football. We'll be right back. The story behind the story. And we're back. I'm Keegan, your host of Story Behind the Story. It seems, even though Justin Quick is his name, he's not the fastest guy coming from class. So we're going to talk to Rachel about the beer garden, and then we'll catch up with Justin later. How you doing, Rachel?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good. You know, it's almost Friday. I'm excited, ready for the weekend, ready to kick back and relax. Can you just talk about the beer garden a little bit? How did this idea kind of come up? How did this get going?
Yeah, so last week we looked into the Vibe in the Ville Music Festival that's coming October 20th, and I took another week to look further into the beer garden that will be featured at the outdoor portion of the music festival from 3 to 7. And I looked into this because it's the first time that SAC is ever going to have alcohol at one of their events, and especially at the fall concert. So
That's awesome. And so with the addition of this beer garden, there's probably going to be gates to get in. And what's the cost of this going to be for students who are of age to attend that, or for the people around the community to attend this?
There is going to be a separate gated off portion kind of for the beer garden that's going to be at the other side of the pavilion from where the local artists are performing, just because that's where the bar is at. There isn't a cost for the music festival portion. It's free for students and community members to come to, but the beer, obviously, you're going to have to purchase and be 21 to purchase that. It's still the same.
With the beer garden, how does this kind of affect students and how, moving forward? Like, could we see more events like future concerts having also more beer gardens and stuff like that?
Yeah, so I think the main reason SAC wanted to put on a beer garden and have that is because a lot of their events bring in the underclassmen and the people who live on campus, just because it's convenient for them to come to those things and they're already on campus, so they might as well go to them. And for the upperclassmen who live off of campus, they needed a larger pull factor to bring them back to campus on a Saturday when they could stay at home or go out in Maryville or go to their hometown instead. So the beer garden was kind of a way that they are hoping to bring in those upperclassmen who tend to shy away from going to SAC events.
All right, so the beer garden's a new thing. We've never done it before. So is there any worries, concerns that we're kind of looking forward? And it's a new thing, so we haven't done it. Is there any concerns or worries that we're looking at?
Yes, we also wrote our review, which is the opinion of the editorial staff in the newspaper about it this week. And the main concern with the beer garden was that students will come just for the beer garden and view it as a drinking opportunity instead of a music opportunity and getting to see those live artists. Another concern with the beer garden is that you have to drink your beverage inside the beer garden. You can't leave with it. So the concern there is that students will only stay in the beer garden and not go to the actual live portion of the show, when the beer garden is intended for people to go and have their drink but then go back to the live show. So the main concern with that is just keep in mind that there are live artists there, and that's the purpose of the music festival.
I got you. And then obviously when you go into Bazi, you won't be able to have any of those
Correct.
drinks in
Yeah,
there.
the beer garden will close at 7.
All right, so sweet. So that'll close at 7. So Vibin' in the Ville starts at 3 p.m. and that'll go to 7 when the doors open for Bazi. You'll be able to go in there and we'll have a couple opening acts, and then we'll hear Bazi at 9. So that's really exciting. That's on October 12th. I'm super excited.
October 20th.
October 20th. My bad. October 20th. Correct me. But I'm super excited about it. I'm looking forward to going and see all the different artists and get the chance to see that. And then Bazi, of course, the big headliner. A lot of people are looking forward to that. But I want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me today, Rachel. I'm excited about it. The beer garden's a new thing. I hope it attracts upperclassmen. I encourage students to go to this. Vibin' in the Ville is free, and pick up a ticket and go see Bazi. It's going to be great. That's all the time we have today. We'll be right back to talk to Justin with Bearcat Football. This is the story behind the story. I'm Keegan, your host of Story Behind the Story. Justin Quick is now here to join us. He may not be that quick from coming from class, but we're going to talk about some Bearcat football today. How you doing, Justin?
I'm good.
That's good. That's good. So tough loss for Bearcat football last weekend. Can we just talk a little about that? Kind of what happened?
They came out flat. They kind of got punched in the mouth a little bit there in the first quarter, gave up a couple touchdowns, and they had a hard time recovering from there. It took them till the fourth quarter to finally get something going offensively. And defensively, it's been kind of the same thing all year, and it finally got, bit them, and they've been giving up big plays all year, 25, 30-yard plays. And the first touchdown, I think, was a 50 or 60-yard touchdown pass. So, the big plays obviously bit them right there at the beginning of the game. And like I said, it just took them too long to recover. They were down 25 heading into the fourth quarter, and the big of a deficit was just too much for them to overcome.
They just needed more time on the clock to keep going back.
Yeah.
What did Coach Wright have to say after the game on Saturday and how they're going to move forward from this? Every loss is a learning opportunity. When you win, you don't learn as much, but when you lose, you're able to improve and stuff. What did he have to say?
Basically, he just kind of said that they didn't play the way they should have to win the game. He said credit, Central Oklahoma for how they played. They came out and they played their best football, and he said Northwest came out and they didn't play Northwest football. It was something he kind of talked about is in the past few years, it's kind of been, if the defense hasn't shown up, the offense has been there for Northwest. If there's been a game where one side of the ball is slumping, the other one has been there. And this is the game where early on, both sides were slumping, which we're, not used to seeing. But I think it's a game that they can definitely learn from and take what they saw in the fourth quarter, take what they saw there, their improvement there, and take that moving into the Emporia game.
So improving from here, they have to take that fourth quarter that they have, right, and improve from there. Make sure that both sides, offensive and defensively, they're coming out and they're being aggressive and doing that most definitely. So Emporia State this weekend, correct, this Saturday. So what can we look to see there? Is that going to be a tight game, close game?
It'll be interesting early on because Emporia, they threw the ball 61 times last weekend. And if they come out throwing the ball like that, it'll be interesting to see how the secondary does with the big plays they've been giving up. Coach Wright told us that they've played every game they've played this year. They've had a different secondary starting. They haven't had the same unit starting, and he said he's going to switch it up again this week. So we'll be able to see what they're kind of looking like early on in the game. Whether it's going to be another one of those days where they give up a few big plays. They also are adjusting to losing one of their starters, Gassman, for what Coach Wright told us is probably for the rest of the year. So they're adjusting to that as well. And I think Emporia is going to come out with the mentality of trying to hit those big plays early, get a lead on Northwest, and see if they can kind of push it to where, kind of like with Central Oklahoma, push it to where it's at a spot where they just can't come back.
I got you. And the guy that we lost, what happened? Injuries?
Yeah, it was an injury. I believe it was a leg injury. We don't know for sure. They're not allowed to tell us what exactly the injury is. But he did specify that it is most likely that he's going to be out for the year. So there's a corner that they're going to have to look to replace. And luckily on the defensive side, they do have a lot of depth, and they preach that playing your 111th is the way they like to phrase it, of next man steps in and he's just got to do his 111th on the defense.
Well, thanks for coming and taking the time to talk to me today, Justin. Excited about Emporia State on Saturday. Going to be a good game. I want to thank all our guests coming out, talking to us today, Angel, Rachel, and Justin, for joining us here on Story Behind the Story. You can catch Story Behind the Story live on Facebook and KZLX at 12 on Thursday during Student Media Day, or Monday through Thursday at 6:30 p.m. on KNWT Channel 8. Thanks for joining me. I'm Keegan Cooper, your host of Story Behind the Story. We'll see you next week.